Shane, Brandon, Robert, how are you guys doing today?
Doing well. Doing well. How are you guys?
Pretty good. I started you are now looking at a employed man. Uh,
Ooh.
I started my job today.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, technically, I started my job on Wednesday. It's been training week.
Mm-hmm.
It's been interesting. It's
Are you what are you doing?
Employee
You're working out at a school, or what are you exactly? Are you
yeah. I'm working at a school.
nice?
Yeah, it's a school that focuses on kids with autism.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Nice.
Shane, you've been vacationing. What has that been like? What have you been doing?
Um. Yeah. So I'm on a 6-week break from school right now. My dad is on a 4-week break from work. It's because he's in between jobs, and so it just happened to line up at the same time. And so my mom said, "Oh, let's go to California and visit Madison, my sister." And so we said, "Okay, sure." Um, Off we went, and yeah, we were just down there for a week, and it was a good time. Went to Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, and then saw her in West Hollywood area. So
So I know we had a plan to uh
Yeah.
go into the show.
Can I just say this really quick?
I just want to point something out. And we can cover this later in the show, but I just like to point something out. I know, and Robert, you're gonna be like, I don't want to. I know you said you don't want to cover the preseason.
No, we can cover it. No, we should cover it. Yeah.
We'll probably this is a little tease for later in the show, but the Panthers are beating the crap out of the Steelers, and there's one man who's really showing that he's might actually be better at football than we all thought. Beating the crap out of the Steelers.
Who? Dwayne Haskins?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold? Yeah, he had a great day today.
Numbers.
What are his numbers right now?
This man might actually be better at football than I thought. And I will admit that. His numbers, 19 for 25, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns against a defense that I think we all thought was better than it's going to be.
Well, are they playing all their starters?
They're playing all their starters.
Oh my god. We will get to the Panthers later as we're doing the NFC and AFC South. But yeah, I think that's a positive for Sam Darnold. I mean, we're talking about a player that, when you're looking at Sam, he needs a fresh start. We talked about Carolina being that fresh start with Matt Rule in this offense, and it's clearly showing even though it is the preseason.
Yeah, and I also think it may be, as the season goes along, it may turn out that it's less Carolina being like amazing and more the fact that it's not Sam Darnold being bad. It's more the Jets just suck the life out of every quarterback that goes there.
or did at least. Who knows?
But
Who
like
knows
that's the thing.
now?
I'm not
With Zach
like,
Wilson.
I'm not convinced though with Zach Wilson because like he's
I'm not either.
he's the like quote unquote prototypical quarterback like to me he's like the story mode Madden quarterback like built 6 foot good looking white dude just like
Here's what I'll say about him. He's so much like
white dude
all these.
just like
Is he playing back the Twitch?
I'm checking the Twitch stream. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm kidding.
I'm checking the stream.
boys.
I'm checking the stream.
No.
Go again.
Because Zach Wilson is, yeah, like you said, that's the first thing I thought about him when he was coming out of college. I was like, this guy, he's like the guy that dominated in college, had a great team, he plays really flashy, he's handsome, 6'2", whatever. It's like he's totally is destined to be like I don't know, Cody Kessler or who else is like Johnny Manziel? I mean, he's not crazy like him, but you know what I mean? Like these
Like a
guys
Brock
are
Osweiler
flashy.
type? Well, Osweiler wasn't that
Him.
flashy, but I guess Manziel's a good comparison if you want to say what's the worst case scenario for his career, except he'll probably be a backup. But I don't think he'll hit that. I mean, Robert Saleh is the right coach for this, at least for the defense, but offensively speaking, they've at least been a little bit better in the preseason. But, I mean, Robert Saleh is going to bring in this new mentality for this team. Like, it's not like it's freaking Adam Gase here. Like, we're not dealing with that.
I think I think he's the best possible coach they could have gotten for their situation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, right? They're not in a great position right now as a team, all around. Like, they're pretty weak. They brought in a lot of players. They had kind of a spending spree in the offseason.
They're going to have a better O-line. They bring in CJ Mosley.
Right. They also have...
Or they brought him back because COVID. He was out last year.
They have a bunch of picks in the next couple years, courtesy of the Seahawks. I'm personally at least waiting 2 years. I'm giving them 2 courtesy years to see if they can actually build a team. If they can put in the time, if they can make the good choices, if they don't fail, and if they don't do if I'm not sitting here 2 years from now on draft night going, yet again, the Jets are just blowing it. Because let's be honest, they're probably going to have one of the picks in the first 10, one of the first 10 picks in the first round for the next 2 years. Unless something happens in that division. Because the Patriots are going to be middling. Miami might be better. Jets could get better. And I'm forgetting the other guy.
The Bills are the
Bills,
team in that division.
And we'll see. But yeah, I guess we can talk about this later in the show.
No, I think it's fine to bring it up now. When you're looking at the division, like, the Bills are going to be the class, but who's going to be that second team that can put themselves into a playoff spot, especially with the 18 games scheduled the next 5 years?
Yeah.
The 2 focuses for this Jets staff when it comes to drafting is, number one, going to be defense. And Robert Saleh is going to want to build that D-line, because that's what he did in San Francisco. He's going to do that exact same thing. But he's also going to make the offensive line a priority for Zach Wilson. They still need a wide receiver 1, but I'm certain that they can get that in free agency, especially down the line and even you can get a first round receiver in like the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, especially with these last few drafts. So there are options.
Here's a big thing to look out for is the fact that very small odds that he actually gets away from this team, but TJ Watt is on the market in the free agency next year. He's
probably
go back to Pittsburgh.
Right.
But then you've got guys like Stephon Gilmore, who
is even tradable right now. The Jets could even make a trade offer.
I could see.
Are they going to trade him in division though?
That's true.
But here's the thing.
But the Patriots are willing to make any move they want right now at this point.
Here's why I say yes. And Shane, you can. I would love to hear your opinion on this because I think he's at an age where he's not the Stephon Gilmore we know, right? When everybody was saying the Seahawks should get him, I was sitting there and being like, please, for the love of God, don't touch him. He's still good. Yeah, he got that interception for a touchdown, but we all know that was not Russell's fault. He's good still, right? He's the perfect type of player to go to the Jets, right? Here's why. 1, you could get him for a cheap price. You could just throw a couple, maybe 3rd or 4th round picks, give them a 3rd round pick. Boom. Guarantee you, maybe take some money off the books. I don't know. You get a good cornerback to for maybe 1 or 2 seasons, maybe 3. Yeah, and here's the thing: they have the cap space to take him.
Right.
So why wouldn't you?
Well, I would also add this, and I don't know how the money would work, but N'Keal Harry is also in a position where he's looking to get moved. A Gilmore-N'Keal Harry trade could be interesting because I think N'Keal also needs a change of scenery. Not saying that we're not saying that Gilmore's necessarily on the market. It appears that he's pretty much off the market, but
apparently he's getting better. Another guy who apparently wants out of his team is Chandler Jones.
Right, for money reasons, so I think that's an option.
Yeah, his contract will be up. Darius Williams' contract will be up. Harrison Smith's contract will be up. Marshawn Lattimore's contract will be up. Calais Campbell, Kyle Fuller. But here's the problem, right? And you already touched on this, Robert. It's hard now to do what the Seahawks did in 2013.
But it's different. It's different for the Jets.
Right. But no, it's not, Robert. Because what the Seahawks were able to do is they were able to build a team in a time before teams were locking players down.
True.
And what the Seahawks also did is they took advantage of a saturated market of guys who were not looked at. And in a way, I could think of the Jets, because who did Robert Saleh coach for when the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl?
The Niners, wasn't he like a quality coach?
The Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, that's right. He was on that team.
He was on the Seattle Seahawks team as a coach when we won the Super Bowl in 2013. Look it up.
I'll look it up, but I think you are correct.
I feel like I remember that.
Right.
He was, because you know why I know this? Because they talk about it every goddamn time on the radio. He's talking about it on the radio.
Oh, like locally here? Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Defensive quality control coach.
If you think about it, what does the quality control coach do? He probably would have... Yes, he's in charge of making sure some of the defense is good. But I guarantee you he also had a hand in saying, take a look at this guy. Take a look at this guy. Take a look at this guy.
Right.
I think Robert Saleh, putting these pieces together and being like, he would have had a hand in building that defense. I 100% agree with both of you now that I think he will be able to build a very strong team with guys that I hope he decides to go the route the Seahawks did. And instead of just bringing in all the big name old guys, he goes, you know what? Let's take some flyers on guys who have had some success, but are not, the most popular names.
So before go ahead.
However, I will acknowledge, before somebody inevitably says, "Oh, but the Seahawks had some of the best drafts of all time." Yes, they did.
And undrafted moves, but yeah.
They took, but that's the thing, Rob. As exactly as I was going to say this. Yeah, they had really good drafts, but a lot of their players they found were undrafted. So
before I go,
it'll be interesting.
Before I go to Shane to ask this question, to kind of talk about the Seahawks team, because this is something that's on my mind every offseason. The market has changed, obviously, with the cap this year, but moving forward, the cap is going to expand exponentially, which, again, as Brandon said, is going to keep players around to their markets. But it's also going to make teams, and this is something that the Jets have done in the past, the Dolphins have done in the past, the Browns have done in the past, all these teams, the Lions even, I could probably say, but I would say the Dolphins and the Jets are the biggest culprits of this. Houston is a big culprit of that with the Bill O'Brien era. The problem that this has created over the last 10 to 12 years is that teams are willing to overspend for what they want. They don't necessarily view... the teams that are really bad overspend the market value just because they think that player is going to change something. The perfect example of this was Ndamukong Suh. with the Miami Dolphins. He got a massive 6-year contract. I think he left that contract after, 2-3 years? It just didn't fit at all. The problem, the teams that are going to be successful in the next decade in the NFL are teams that manage the cap well, whether legally or, I don't know, not necessarily shady, but signing bonuses like the Saints have done, and the Chiefs are going to continue to do with Patrick Mahomes, and pay market value for their guys and the rest of the league, or a little bit above it. And the bad teams, the teams that are going to be consistently bad over the next decade, are going to overpay for guys like a Marshawn Lattimore, even like guys like a Jamal Adams, even though he's not on the market anymore, just for examples. Right? That's going to be the big thing. But Shane, let me ask you this. When we're talking about that Seahawks team, and this is something that's on my mind all the time, I remember after that year, when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, everyone was trying to build secondary. And that didn't really work. Right? That didn't really work with everybody. Right? And so now teams are realizing that the best way to build rosters is obviously the quarterback first, but the O-line and the D-line, right? But not really the secondary. Why do you think the secondary was kind of a big point of emphasis for a couple of years, but kind of faded away? Like, do you think that's not the best formula to build a team?
I think people looked at I think people were influenced by this Seahawks defense, in the fact that they were one of the best defenses in NFL history, and certainly in probably the last 20 years. And what people noticed about them was the Legion of Boom, because they were the flashiest, they were the loudest, and yeah, they were really good. But at the end of the day, the most important part of a defense is, at least in my opinion, the line. That's why they're pictured here, And so, because they have, with the way the game is right now, it's so quarterback dependent that you really need to have a pass rush, some kind of pressure, whatever, to be successful, I think. And to me, that's much more important than just having, a good safety, which, granted, having a great safety is obviously good. But, we saw it with the Seahawks just last year. They, in the first half of the season, they had Jamal Adams. He was playing great, but the defense was really struggling. And then around week 8, Carlos Dunlap comes in the building, and now they have a pass rush. And then the defense started doing a lot better. You know what I mean? And like it wasn't Jamal Adams that did that. It was Dunlap, I think. So it's it's interesting to see how defenses have changed, because now people are putting a lot more emphasis on edge rushers and outside linebackers even. So it's I think the game just people are realizing how the game is evolving and adapting to it.
Well, I actually think it's a situation of you can't have one without the other. I think if you bring in Carlos Dunlap, I think he has success. I think if you bring in Jamal Adams, yes, he has success because of Jamal Adams. I think we're still being like, wow, he can teleport, he's getting in the backfield, whatever. But by bringing in those two players, what they did is they, in a way, recreated the magic of the 2013 Seahawks through 15, 16. Exactly. What they did is it was the magic of the Cam Chancellor mix, the Cam Chancellor
with
bad
Brandon
bowl. Yeah, exactly. It was the whole thing of Cam Chancellor being back there, patrolling the backfield. I mean, patrolling the depth, being like, try and throw it on me. Do it. try me. And then that opened up for them to have to respect the pass. And so then Mebane was able to just be like, boom, go through the line, get the sack, go around the edge, get the sack, and then it's the same thing. It's Jamal Adams, Carlos Dunlap. I mean, look at it last year. Go back and watch some of the footage. There were a lot of times where they would have to, the guy would stay in the pocket because you would have Carlos Dunlap coming around the edge, and because he has to be blocked, it opens a pocket for Adams, or they would go to throw the ball, and Adams is there, and Dunlap would be able to get the sack.
Not to mention you get a guy like Bobby Wagner right in the middle of it.
Right, exactly. Right. And I think it fixed a hole on the defense that was just that had been really prominent for a long time.
Bobby was so underrated. When you're talking about those 2013 teams, I think he's the one piece that was talked about the least that season on that defense. But he was really the anchor, and he's been that for forever, it seems like, for that team. Well, and that was so important to their success back then, but even the success that we're seeing now with that defense.
He's still, it's really interesting. He's still, it's something people don't think about is the fact is how many times do we really get beat across the middle?
Almost never. Often. Almost never, no.
Because
I mean,
you can't throw it down the middle.
Go ahead, Shane.
Even when Seattle has had a kind of a weak pass defense in the last few years, they've still been like a top 5 rush defense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it's, there's a reason Seattle was like, we'll pay Jamal.
But we'll pay him fair money. It was fair money.
We'll pay him fair money, but Bobby's still staying the highest paid linebacker on the team.
Right. Sure. We went 22 minutes without mentioning our new partner. We are working with Revelant, a social media app. We'll be working with them throughout the NFL season. So they are awesome. I'm going to be working with the NFL Fanatics Vibe, which is these little communities that we can connect in. I'll be working and doing podcasts with them on the NFL Vibe, the Seahawks Vibe, which I'm sure Shane and Brandon, you join in for those as well. And I'll also be working on the Fantasy Basketball Fanatics Vibe as well as we're planning some things with the interns as well in the other group. But how excited are you guys to have a new partner in the fold and be part of a new team?
I think it's really cool. We've been talking about having a opportunity to get our podcast out there to a wider audience. It seems like a really chill app, really cool community, and I think we'll be able to utilize it to get a bigger audience. So I think it'll be really cool.
Shane, what about you?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's kind of a newer app. It's kind of a newer company, and I think it'll be great. So kind of have helping each other out almost, with us being able to go on there, promote them, and vice versa, them being able to get us noticed a bit more. And and I, like Brendan said, I kind of was looking around there and I was like, oh, this is interesting, and there's just cool stuff that you can do on there and whatnot. Follow different people and see what they're doing, and like I follow Robert and I get these notifications like, Robert, follow this page, and it's like, oh, what's this page? It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so really excited to work with Mitch and the whole crew there, and the whole intern group throughout the NFL season. So definitely excited. We'll give you some background as well on sort of how the show started. Shane, do you want to kind of give some background on how we sort of started this process?
Well, ever since Robert and I were like 6, we've wanted to have a sports podcast, and so then, about, what was it, two and a half years ago, we got an opportunity to make one with U-Wave over at University of Washington Bothell. You remember those days when we were live on the radio over there? And yeah, and with COVID, that kind of shut down as did everything else, and we've just kind of transitioned to making it at our own network, and we're still relatively young, but I think that we've had all these different kind of phases of the show between U-Wave and then Hat Trick from home, and then now we're kind of in like the relevant phase. I feel like, yeah.
And then Brandon, you came on the show a little bit later towards sort of, I think mostly around when COVID started, but you worked as station manager for U-Wave for a long time. Tell us about sort of your experience in this space.
Yeah.
You started at like the end of the U-Wave era.
Well, I would say I was there for about maybe a year on the show. I kind of just randomly came on one day, and it was supposed to be a small, just kind of thing every now and then I wormed my way in and
was on it every single week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kept just asking. They couldn't say no, I guess.
No, we loved having you on.
But no,
yeah,
like
one time when we were still at the studio, it was like there was one Friday where I was like, "Where's Brennan?" And Robert was like, "He's not here today." And I said, shucks. But
well, that's nice to hear. Yeah, it was honestly like we had a couple shows there, and I would honestly, the thing that I noticed was just I've always been a big sports guy, and I noticed that you and Robert Shane had really good chemistry together. So I was like, you know what? They have good banter. Let's see if this would be fun to get in on. And yeah, I think we've kind of slowly developed a good little camaraderie going on here. And I like to think of of it
as a brotherhood, like on and off the show.
Shane and I would both probably say that Robert holds the fort down on this show as he gets everything.
Oh yeah,
gets everything going. The other day, I was talking to my mom about this, and I was like, man, Robert is awesome because Robert.
Thank you.
He will do anything for the show. He has like all the chutzpah in the world. Like I would.
He'll kill a cow for it.
I mean, like we were talking about. Like the idea of getting like possibly doing like doing Husky like press passes. I was like, you know what? In a way, I was like, that's nice, Robert. Like you go try that. But like just the fact that he's
it's hard to do. I can't get it to work. It's hard to do.
It's hard to do. But even the fact that he went out and was like, you know what? I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try.
I looked it up, and it's the same thing as always. It's just like you can't like it takes some work, but we'll get there.
The fact that I mean, that's the thing. One day we will be there, and I was talking to my mom, and I was like, one day, I'm 100% certain that one day Robert will be on some big sports network because you know what, he has that sort of that drive, and I think. Shane and I are just happy to be following in your footsteps. So,
yeah. Well, thank you so much. Honestly, thank you to both of you. You both are brothers to me, and I appreciate everything. Like as we've grown, and obviously Shane and I, we've had our stuff and our struggles and whatever through our years and our friendship too. But I'm very thankful for you guys as well. I'm going through a very rough time personally as well right now. That's been really hard, but being able to do the show with you guys and bring you guys along for the ride, especially with this new chapter, and I'm so thankful for Evelyn to give us this opportunity and take full advantage of it, and to still be working with you guys under this new segment of our show, like this new life that we have. It's so exciting, and just the opportunities are endless now. So I'm so excited to continue to grow this.
Why did it feel like we just had a therapy session?
That's most of these shows anyway, and we don't even realize it. So now from that, we are going to go talk about Cristiano Ronaldo before we get to some NFL, college football stuff. So Ronaldo goes back to Manchester United. I woke up.
Back.
He went back, yeah, because he started at Manchester United. He was at the Manchester United Academy. So yeah, he's going.
Why would he have ever gone to Spain?
Because it's Real Madrid and it's the biggest club in the world. And then he went to Juve.
He could have had the announcer going, as I said earlier, as it'll be now, going Ronaldo instead of Rooney. It's now going to be Ronaldo.
My God, Wayne Rooney. Do you want to hear about Wayne Rooney first? This is hilarious. So he's a player coach at Derby County, which is a champion, like lower division. It's called, so you have the EPL, the championship, and then like a couple levels below it, right? I think Derby County's in the championship. And so he's their coach / player, and he like injured one of his players for a month in training by slide tackling into him.
Of course
that's a problem.
Yeah. So
and the coach, the head of the team must be like Rudy.
So he goes back to Manchester United, and I mean it's gonna be his last chapter of his career. Everyone's like the last dance, going back home to Manchester United. I was certain I was gonna wake up this morning and it was gonna be City. What a terrible transfer window for Manchester City. My God. So let's talk about this entire window from start to finish. Day one, or early stages of this transfer window, Manchester City goes up and pays $100 million to Aston Villa for Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish had an amazing Euros, and so everyone was like, yeah, this is a really good move. I was a bit stunned by it. I was like, all right, yeah, City gets Grealish. That's good. He's been a little rough, I think, early on, but he'll be fine. So I was like, okay, fine. And this was after the news that we had that Messi was going to stay at Barcelona. He signed that wage reduction contract, whatever it is. So then 2 weeks later, Messi is like, or Barcelona says, okay, we can't actually do this contract with Messi. He's on the block. So now, if you're a City fan, which I'm not, I'm a Chelsea fan myself. If you're a City fan, you're like, okay, we paid Grealish $100 million. Okay, but we can still get Messi. Fine. Messi then ends up going to PSG. The only two teams that could afford Messi were City and PSG. On top of all this, Harry Kane's at Tottenham still, and Harry Kane was adamant that he was going to leave because Tottenham went through 9 managerial candidates this summer to get a new manager, to get a new head coach. They went through 9 people. They hired their 9th choice. It was so bad. So if I'm Harry Kane, I would want to leave. Clearly, I would want to leave. And City was basically his only option. So that's kind of the cloud going over all of this. So Messi goes to PSG, fine. And then this week, Ronaldo's like, I want out of Juve, and I want out of Juventus. And I was stunned that he even wanted out. I didn't think he would want... He's only been at Juve for, 2-3 years, something like that. And it was like, all right, City. City is his option. And then last night, probably the negotiations were happening while I was still awake. I'm certain that was the case, because I'm up really late, as always.
You're a vampire.
Yeah. He ends up going to United. He ends up going, instead of City, I don't think he was ever going to go to City in the first place. Now looking back on it, looking at his history with United and everything he said about United, City lost Messi to PSG, picked up Jack Grealish for $100 million. I bet you want to take that back now, City fans. I bet you want to. I bet you want to take that back. Then
Can I just? I'm sorry to laugh at that, but that's the most savage I've ever heard Robert be. And Shane, would you agree with me? Because that's the most That's the most like soccer fan I've ever heard. Like the most non-unbiased I've ever heard Robert, because he strives to be this like professional, and that be like, I'm not on one side or the other, and that was the most soccer-y thing I've ever heard. I bet you want to take that back. Oh, I'm a soccer fan and I love it. Like, it's like
wait, let me finish. Okay, so
that was great.
You pick up Grealish, and then like a few days ago, Harry Kane's like, yeah, I'm staying at Tottenham. What? I don't understand that. What? Why would you want to stay? He wanted to, did City not give you a good offer? Like, what happened there? I'm confused on what happened there. And then, to top it all off, Ronaldo decides to go to your main rival. Are you kidding me, Manchester City? And let's not forget that you got to play PSG in the Champions League group stage in a few months' time. That is the worst transfer window by a top club I think I've ever seen, with all of the options available, and all of them get an F. And not to say that they're not the best team in the Premier League, they are. They're going to win the Premier League this year, regardless of which. But have fun in the Champions League this year. Have fun. It is going to suck.
Robert, I hate to tell you this, but you sound like me. You sound like me ranting about, like, the Seahawks or some, like, NFL team. Because, like, no, you know what? You sound like me ranting about the NFC East last year. Just, like...
That's how I feel about Manchester City right now. Because I'm like, what happened here? Like, what happened here? You had all this money. You could bring in 2 players. You could bring in Grealish and one other player, and you failed to bring in someone else. And to be honest, you need that other player to win the Champions League when you got Messi at PSG now. There's no way.
Wasn't Manchester City the team that everybody was like hyped about to start the season?
I mean, yeah, because they thought they would bring in more talent. I mean, clearly they were like PSG before PSG, basically,
Yeah.
before Messi went to PSG.
Like,
I was like, yeah.
ESPN they did Man City. They did Man City so dirty on the first day of the season. They were like, they did like Man City before the first couple minutes of the game, Man City after the first couple of minutes of the game. It's like happy, sad. I'm not even a soccer fan, and that's just brutal.
Like, I am telling you, they are going to win the Premier League. I don't think they're not going to win it. And I think Chelsea's going to finish like 3rd, which, whatever. We always finish in the top 4 anyway. But, I mean, like, again, have fun dealing with PSG in the Champions League. Like, I don't know how the heck they're going to manage that.
You know, I'm not even a soccer fan, but I'd just like to bring up the happiest moment for me in being in the Sounders recently was watching the Sounders absolutely decimate Portland 6-2.
Wow, was it? Well, I thought it was close.
Nope, it was 6-2. What
Jesus.
a glorious game it was. I mean, it was close at first, and then the Sounders were like, you know what? Nah. And then they were like, boom, goal, boom, goal. How about a corner, header, goal? How about a nice little goal from
that's gonna be
30 feet out?
That's gonna be every PSG game with the bottom teams in Ligue 1.
Yeah, people like goal. And then they beat Portland. Then they're like, "Aight, what are we gonna do now? Okay, let's go play a team from La Liga, from like the Mexican league."
Oh yeah, from Liga MX.
Boom, 2-0. Come at me, Mexico.
Also, can I say this? That was a pretty good MLS All-Star game over the week. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, except they need to do something about that damn homophobic chant. Like,
oh, 100%.
It's absurd.
It is.
FIFA needs to like do something more than just like one game without fans, because it's happening.
It's happening in England too a lot, which is really bad.
And like Mexico's like, oh, well, they're like, and there are Mexicans who are like, well, it actually isn't homophobic. We say it to each other. I don't care. It's homophobic.
It's not right in world soccer.
Right, it's homophobic when you bring it
Or world
out
football.
into the world stage like that.
Yeah.
Keep it in your country. If it's not homophobic in your country, that's great. Say it with your friends. Say it with your family. Say it with your people. Words have different meanings, and because of the way that communication works, those meanings are valid in other countries.
I mean, the biggest thing with football right now, like racism has always been a problem. Homophobic stuff has always been a problem. Remember after the Euros, soccer got like a bunch of racist messages online. It's like it's one of the stupidest things about world football. But Shane, what are your thoughts on Ronaldo going to Man City or Man United? Excuse me.
I'm not the one to ask about.
You're not the one to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like
going back home.
when it comes to soccer, I don't really. This is very unsports fan of me, but I don't really pay attention to these European teams.
Mm-hmm.
I really only care about like national teams.
Yeah. I say the national team product is better. And I might be in the minority, but I think it's better. I think it's a better product.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like World Cup or
Euro, Copa America,
Copa Euro.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, all of that's definitely better.
But,
Brandon, do you have any thoughts
But
before
I
we
am-
move on? Actually, go ahead, Shane.
but
Sorry.
from what little I know, I do know that is an odd choice
Yeah.
for Ronaldo. But,
I mean, I think coming home is good. We'll see what happens with the rest of the club there, with Paul Pogba still being there. I don't know where those rumors are at, but either way. Yeah. So that was probably the most ranty I'll ever get on this show.
that was funny.
I just can't.
Great.
I just can't get over how bad Man City messed up. Like it's so bad. And to think, I didn't think it was going to get this bad, but it got bad. All right, so we already kind of went through the preseason. So let's go to the division preview. So we talked about the former champ, the 2013 Seahawks. Let's talk about the defending champ, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brandon, what do you think? So they bring back their starters. Do you feel like they are the best team in the NFC, even though they brought all their starters back, or how do you feel about Tampa going into their title defense?
Nope. They're not the best team in the NFC. In the South.
They're not the best
Would you
team
like to
in
know
the
who-
South?
In their division.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I've said it many times. I still think it was a fluke. They won the Super Bowl. Yes, they made it. I can't take that away from them. Good job. High five. You did it. Bueno. You did good. Wow, you really did a good job. Cool. Wonderful. Here's the thing. That regular season was it was a joke.
It was a roller coaster. Like, it was a horrible roller coaster.
Bad. If you base their season on their regular season, they did not deserve to be in the playoffs.
Just based on how we talked about them on the show, we were not confident about them at all the entire year.
They didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. Hell, they should have been knocked out of this in like the second round. I mean, they got. And here's my thing. Here's my answer, right? No, they are not the best team in the NFC. Hell no. No, they are not the best team in their own division. You know who is the best team in their division, in my opinion? And I might be 100% wrong. I believe the Panthers will be the best team in their division.
That's a hot take. Why?
Whoa. Okay.
Because I think the Panthers have been sneakily building a solid team for the last 2 or 3 years, and they just needed a good coach. I 100% think that they needed
They
a coach.
got him
They
last
needed
year,
the-
though.
They got him last year.
They got him last year, but think about this. They were playing with a team with a quarterback who was the backup and a guy who was supposed to be their starter who got hurt.
In Christian McCaffrey.
And their running back got hurt. they brought in some pieces on the.
Yeah, they brought in some good pieces defensively.
They had a pretty good defensively. They had a really good offseason. Just hold with me, okay?
So wait, I'm pulling them up right now.
Just I have a point.
So they get Darnold.
I've thought about this. I have a point to make, and I'm not like usually when I say stuff like this, I'm just like, oh, just gonna start up the hot take machine. No, I'm actually like, in this case, I actually have reasoning behind this, right?
Okay.
Right. They signed Cameron, or they get offense. They brought in an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
2 pretty good offensive tackles. Now here's here's the big thing. The under the table offensive pick that they picked up that everybody's gonna underrate and everybody's gonna be like, who dis? They got David Moore. The ex-Seahawk.
I don't think he'll have that much value on this team.
No. Because here's the thing. David Moore is better than people give him credit for.
He just doesn't get snaps. He's not going to get snaps.
No, he'll get snaps. He'll get snaps.
I think he will.
Because here's the thing. Even if he doesn't get snaps, you know what he does do? He gets touchdowns. He finds the end.
True, he does. Yes.
He was a touchdown machine for the Seahawks, and I was bummed to see them not re-sign him. Because honestly, he fit that system well for what he did. He's basically equivalent of a third down back at wide receiver. And, I think he's going to be a sneaky good addition to a pretty damn good defensive pickup. I mean, they got Morgan Fox, they got Hassan Reddick, AJ Bouye.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have Jeremy Chin, who was incredible last year, going to get better this year.
Then they had a pretty good draft. They picked Terrace Marshall,
Garcos Matos,
or Chuba Hubbard. They got Davion Nixon, Deontay Brown. Picked up Sam Darnold, who at the time I was like, oh, it's just Sam Darnold.
J.C. Horn.
But if he plays, and again, a lot of this is based upon if and.
Right.
A lot of it is best case scenario.
So what is the win total best case scenario on an 18-game schedule for them? 11 or 12?
I'd say 10
games.
Or 17?
10 or 11. I'd say 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I think 11 is really good. 11 is busting the expectations. I would say, even with that, worst case scenario is still what would be what's the equivalent of an 8-8 now?
9-8. 9-8 is the new 8-8.
Yeah,
it would be 9-8 technically.
Even worst case scenario, I would say 9-8. I still think they go 500 and make the playoffs. I don't know what it is. I just think this team has something there.
Mm-hmm. I think their receiving core is nice. DJ Moore is good. You mentioned David Moore. So they have Sam Darnold. They picked up McCaffrey. Robbie Anderson just signed a new 2-year deal, or basically a 2-year extension. So I think it's a 4-year contract. I think David Moore could potentially slide into that slot. Ian Thomas is better than people think. He wasn't that great last year, but he's better than people think. Their line is okay. Taylor Moton, I think, considering the franchise tag, he's definitely better than people think. It's an underrated offense. Brian Burns is amazing. Derek Brown is going to be great. Shaq Thompson's better than people think. Of course, J.C. Horn they picked up. We know about Jeremy Chin. He was in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year. The team's just very underrated. Definitely it's underrated. I think you're right in the sense that it's underrated, but I have a hard time even thinking this team's better than the Saints. Shane, your thoughts?
Whoa. Shane, 1 second.
That's fine.
The Saints?
I got time.
The Saints.
I still think the Saints are better.
The Saints looked like a fat turd in a toilet bowl last year. I'm sorry, Shane. I know you love the Saints, but
I mean, I don't
than,
really care about them anymore.
Other than competing with the other than the fact that they beat the Buccaneers last year,
they're just a better roster. I don't think it's hard for me to admit that. They're a better overall roster in 2021.
their quarterback
That's going to hold them back.
30-30.
Right.
And there's no way I can put, and that's the thing, right? There's no way for me to say that they are better than the Panthers because of their quarterback. I think
So Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than Jameis Winston right now.
Yes, he is. And you know why? Because, yeah, he might make bad decisions at times, but he wasn't working with anything with the Jets.
That's true.
At least Jameis Winston had pieces with the Buccaneers. Like, any decent quarterback would have taken that team to at least the playoffs every year.
Shane, who's a better quarterback, Winston or Darnold right now in this division?
Ooh, I think it's really hard to tell because they have been in such, like Brandon said, it's hard to judge Darnold because he didn't really have much to work with in New York. I'm going to give a slight edge to Darnold because at least he is more athletic than Jameis. He just has a better ability to make plays on the fly, improvise. Whereas I feel like Jameis is just a very traditional pocket passer, which is fine. Look at Brady, but he doesn't have like that extra ability to extend plays that I think Darnold has. To me, I just worry about my biggest concern with both of them is turnovers. And I'm hoping that with Darnold, with a better system and better players around him, that he will make less mistakes. It seems that way. However, with Jameis, he's still making some throws where I'm kind of like, maybe you shouldn't have thrown that, you know?
Yeah.
Not to mention, Darnold has 2 good receivers, whereas Jameis is not going to have Michael Thomas for a while, and he does have Callaway, is that his name? Who looks pretty good.
He looks good.
But he's still kind of unproven, you know?
Yeah, and Alvin Kamara out of the backfield, if they can use him that way, which they really didn't when Breeze was gone. So, I don't know.
And Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
If they play him as a whatever he is.
Swiss Army knife, basically.
Yeah.
To conclude this conversation... Go ahead, sorry, Shane.
Personally, I would have started Taysom over Jameis. That might be a hot take, but at least with him you have just a better athlete, so he's more two-dimensional.
True, and that works better for the overall scope of the league, but you watch him and you're like, I don't know. Plus, he's also like in his 30s now, I think, and it's just,
He is 30,
yeah. So, I don't know. I had a hard time with him. I just don't think he ran that system too well. To conclude this conversation, though, I wanted to make this quarterback comparison as well. So last week we talked about the Lions. We talked about Jared Goff, and it's sort of the opposite. Obviously, it's different, but I'll let's just put it in like as simple terms as possible. They're on 2 like separate track records in their career. Because Goff, as we talked about last week, should get the benefit of the doubt in Detroit, but he won't because he doesn't deserve that after the team he had in LA with the Rams. Darnold is at the opposite end where we're willing, and the Panthers organization was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt in New York. And now he's not going to have that as much anymore, but still, like, it's sort of like a polar opposites way to look at a career where I really think if we're being reasonable, Goff is not going to have a good year. And we're just going to be like, dude, what the heck? When he just doesn't have anything around him. When Darnold, we're like, it's the opposite, where he didn't have anything around him, and now he does. And Goff had everything around him, and now he doesn't. And we're just going to view them so differently this season.
That's a great point, actually. I never thought of that, but it's probably true.
No.
Yeah.
Who's the quarterback for the Jets this year?
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
It's going to be Zach.
We were just talking about him.
They didn't play him in the game today because I was like looking at it. I was like, who's?
Yeah, Zach. But they're like their entire team basically didn't play.
Yeah, the Eagles and the Jets tied 31-31.
They actually tied in a preseason game. Golly.
Yeah. That tells you all you need to know about those
really
two teams this year.
Wait, so that was the Jets and who else?
Eagles.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
What's your guys' how do you predict, like, in terms of the standings?
division?
But before that, can we get to Atlanta really quick? Let's not forget about Atlanta.
Do we have to?
They're
gonna be. I mean, they're just gonna be. Atlanta. Like, okay, cool. Wow, cool.
I think they'll be about the same as they were last year.
I mean,
they don't have receivers. They don't have receivers, so it's just gonna be Kyle Pitts all night long.
They lost Julio, but they got Kyle Pitts, so.
They got Pitts, except it's going to be... They still have their running back, right? They still have...
No, they don't. They don't. They're you know who's their number one running back?
Who?
Mike Davis.
Davis, right?
Hey, I would hate on Mike Davis.
He's basically going to be a middling RB2 in fantasy this year.
He was okay with the... I mean, he was with the Seahawks for like a little bit, and
he's fine.
He's old, really old.
That's he was good with Carolina, so like give him that.
Except he's old now, and like, why is can we talk about the fact of why are the Falcons still holding on to their QB?
Because Matt Ryan's still a capable starter, in my opinion.
No, he's not. He's old. His arm is
their
going.
Best option right now.
Which tells you everything you need to know about them.
I don't think he's as bad as you make him out to be.
They're a joke. Robert, did you watch them last year?
I thought Matt had a pretty good year, all things considered.
If that's pretty good, I don't want to know what bad is. Like...
I thought Matt was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. I mean, he didn't have anything to work with, basically.
I mean, if I'm Matt Ryan right now, I'm like, why do I even stick around other than for the money? Like, they're not giving him anything, and they're not going to give him anything. Like, I literally believe that the Falcons right now could possibly be named the worst run franchise in the league.
Over Detroit?
At least Detroit's trying.
Detroit's trying with a coach that can't even say something that isn't funny out of his mouth.
At least they're trying to make moves. They're trying to bring stuff in. They're trying to make new stuff happen. But, like, I don't know. I think Atlanta's having the longest Super Bowl hangover ever.
It's kind of true.
Like,
I can't hate. It's kind of true.
And I'm not trying to hate. I'm just being honest. It's tough love. It's like...
It's kind of true. Like, I hate to say it, but it's kind of true.
I want to see Atlanta succeed, but like...
hang on. I have some glitches on my phone. I'm going to pull up their roster right now. I just don't know. I think Atlanta's roster has always just... with this whole Super Bowl thing, after the Super Bowl, they've always had a good roster. And I just hate how they play. It pisses me off. It's like, you actually have a pretty solid roster in a division that is pretty good, to be fair, especially this year, if we're thinking what we're thinking about Carolina, or what Brand's thinking about Carolina. I mean, so Matt Ryan, your boy Felipe Franks is going to be the backup this year for Atlanta. By the way, Mike Davis. So you have Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, kind of rough receiving core, great tight end. O-line's fine. Yeah, the roster's a little bit dumbed down. Like, defensively, they're a bit underrated, I think. But yeah, two years ago, Atlanta was better than this for sure. I see where you're coming from. I just have a hard time with Atlanta. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to make of Atlanta every year. Like, we had the same conversation last year with Atlanta in 2020, and we're just like, yeah, what is this team? And that's exactly how I feel about them today.
Here's what the team is. They're good at one thing and one thing only, and that's passing the ball.
Is that their entire identity? Because I've been trying to figure out their identity for 3 years. Is that it?
At the moment, yeah. Just Matt Ryan passing to Russell Gage, whoever.
Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts, basically.
Like, they don't really do anything else really that well. Defensively, offensively. You know.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I have a hard time giving them an identity every year since the Super Bowl, and that probably is their identity. It's frustrating. It's just frustrating because I know we know what they were as a Super Bowl team, and to see that fall from grace is just ridiculous.
Coming so close to winning.
Yeah. They said that they partied at halftime. Which, yeah, I can't believe that came out now.
That answers some questions.
Yeah. So, records? Or at least win totals?
I'll go first, I guess. Probably... I'm going to go... This is if the Buccaneers play like they played last year in the regular season. I'm going to go Panthers, Bucks, Saints, Falcons.
Shane?
I would say I do think Tampa wins just because they won 11 games last year, and that was, in the first year with Brady and Arians, two guys that are both very controlling, butting heads. It took them until about November to finally click, and then once they did, they won 9 straight games.
Thanksgiving. Forget November. Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of those games they didn't deserve to win, but then I remembered who I cheer for. So.
God.
But yeah, so I think now that they are all kind of on the same page and everybody knows what's going on, I think that they do a little bit better, like 12-13 wins probably. And then second, I probably... now Brandon's got me thinking.
Brandon, who makes the playoffs? Who makes the playoffs for you, Brandon? The Bucks and the Panthers?
Yeah.
Okay. Continue, Shane. So, now Brandon's got you thinking a little bit.
Well, because for me, it all depends on Jameis and Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if Darnold plays a little bit better, I think the Panthers get second. But if Jameis is much better and Darnold sucks like he did in New York, then I think the Saints are too. Because I think that New Orleans still has a really solid defense. And I think they have a bit of a better O-line. However, I like the running back and receiver situation more in Carolina. So, I mean, overall, I guess I like New Orleans roster a little bit better, so I will cautiously say they'll be second. um, but then I do think Carolina's third. I mean, I thought Carolina was going to be like 8-8 last year. Obviously they weren't, but I think they're definitely on track for that. So, I think they'll be about 500 regardless. Coming in third, and then Atlanta. Um, yeah, I think they're 4 or 5 wins. I mean, it's just kind of the same old thing.
Who makes the playoffs for you in this division?
Well, Tampa, and then
Does New Orleans even sniff the playoffs for you?
So I have to say something.
Yeah, I think Shane just froze.
Yeah, he looks very confused. I
Yeah.
I just looked at their schedules,
Yeah.
like the Panthers and the Bucks, and I think I have to switch the Bucks and the Panthers because
Shane, you froze, man. My bad.
the Bucks
Yeah,
just
sorry.
with their schedules, with the schedules compared, the Bucks just have more gimme games outside of the division.
Which is weird because they're a Super Bowl team. They should have the party
it's
schedule.
kind of BS, but it happens all the time. You've heard me complain about it.
We've complained about it every schedule release.
You look at the Bucks schedule; it is filled with gimme games. Like just without holding with getting rid of any toss up games. I have the Bucks at 8 wins, just without talking about any of their in conference games or in division games, or talking about their game against the Bills or the game against the Patriots. So I think I switched the Panthers and the Bucks by 1 game. I think the Panthers. I mean, the Bucks. I think take the division by 1 game because I think it's gonna be that close.
Mm-hmm. So Shane, you feel so the Bucks, and then do you think the Saints or the Panthers find their way?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Saints for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see it being Panthers. I think Brandon's got a good case there.
Yeah.
I think.
You think they make the playoffs?
Wild card.
Wild card.
Yeah. Just 2 teams from that division though. I don't think.
Yeah.
Make it.
I think the Bucks are the only team that makes that playoffs. I don't think the Saints or the Panthers even sniff it. I think that the NFC West could have, feasibly could have 3 teams.
They're not gonna have 3. If you say Arizona,
Not Arizona. Not Arizona. I think we've saw enough of their defense to say that Arizona is not in a playoff spot. But everyone else in the West, in the NFC West, should be a playoff team. And I think what ends up happening is the South is the division that helps that. Am I wrong here?
In the East.
Yeah, in the East.
Also, how
The
many
East
teams
is-
do you think are going from the North?
Oh shoot, that's where it's hard
We already had
because
this discussion. I think there's gonna be 2. Well, wait, no, I think I said 1. I think it's just gonna be Green Bay.
it's probably just
Pretty much.
Minnesota.
It's pretty much 2
No,
in each.
oh,
It's
no.
pretty much 2 in each division,
No.
and then
Oh.
1 in the remaining division.
Like-
So
I don't
Yeah.
really keep saying Minnesota has such a good defense, but it's like
So I guess the Saints would
if
go
you
in.
if you don't have a quarterback, what are you gonna do?
Minnesota has Kirk Cousins.
Okay, wow, you have a guy who's mediocre at best. Good
On
for
a
you.
$26 million a year deal for the next 3 years.
I think the Vikings defense is a little overrated.
You
Personally.
same.
I mean, they were good 2 years ago, but I think they have dropped off a bit. But that's a whole other conversation.
Let's go over to the AFC North side, the Titans. What is
South.
right, or the AFC South? Titans. Does Tannehill have an expanded role in 2021? You got Julio Jones, you got AJ Brown. Do you expect more out of Tannehill in terms of production? Do you think this offense, obviously this offense is going to be run heavy regardless, but do you expect the passing game to not, we can make the game manager joke with Tannehill, but he can't be that anymore this year for Tennessee, correct?
I have to if they want to get their worth from Julio.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have a top 3 probably receiving core in the NFL and be a run first team. even though you have Derrick Henry, who is really good, but it's like, I mean, come on, I don't know.
I think Ferkshire's better than people think too here at the tight end spot. I think he'll have a good year.
Yeah. But who knows?
Brandon, what are your thoughts on this Titans offense?
I haven't really been paying attention to the Titans, really.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The NFC North bores me.
I agree.
South.
The AFC.
No, the AFC North.
We're not about the North.
Yeah, the AFC North.
Yeah, we're talking about the South.
No, we're talking. Yeah.
On your freaking outline, it says the North.
Oh crap! My bad. It's the South. We're talking about the South. I screwed that up bad.
You put it on the outline, so.
My apologies. That explains it.
That's a producer error right there.
Yeah, it's a producer error.
Fire him.
I'm the best. I'm the best Bachelor producer ever. I freaking.
The only 2 teams we should be talking about from the North are the Titans and the Colts. I think we could put the Jaguars and the Texans off the side because there's no way they're going to be competitive.
Are we seriously going to talk about the Texans with any validity?
No.
Other than the fact that they should start their rookie quarterback over Tyrod Taylor. I think Davis Mills should start. Am I wrong? Let's just throw this guy in and see what he has.
Well,
honestly, you might as well.
Yeah.
Like with where you're at right now.
Technically,
Screw it.
Tactically, you could start the guy you have already, and
We can't. They're not. Watson's not playing.
I mean, they could because his case is going to take till like 2023 for anything to happen with it. So, like,
he's not even on the team playing at this point. So let's just throw Davis Mills into the fire and see what this man has. Like, who cares if it's going to be bad? You're basically an expansion team anyway. Like, we talked about this. They didn't even give the media their flipping jersey number. Like, do we even care about it?
Well, I mean, I don't care about the AFC South. I've told you this before. I find the AFC South to be pedantic and annoying.
And to be honest,
they're boring. I don't want to talk about them. They never do anything. They just have a bunch of nonsense and try and run around and make noise when there are better teams in other divisions. You have Indianapolis, who's like trying to act like they're going to be successful, but ever since Peyton Manning and his bird arm left, they're not doing anything.
Andrew Luck. But, yeah.
Andrew Luck broke himself.
Well, no! The GM broke him. Let's get it right.
Whatever. The Titans act like they're like they try and be successful, but you're in Tennessee. You're not a successful town. You're not a town that's ever going to win the Super Bowl. You just don't.
I mean, Music City Miracle, but that was forever ago.
Jacksonville. Everybody's like, oh wow, they got Urban Meyer. I'm sorry, he's a college coach who quit on the Gators. He quit on the Buckeyes. He doesn't know how to coach in the NFL.
I think that's been clear in the preseason. He's been he got fined so much money in camp. Holy crap!
Yeah, he doesn't know how to coach in the NFL. It'd be and here's the thing. He only needs to win 3 games to be more successful than last year.
Let's bump it up to 4 with the 17-game schedule. Let's say 4.
Fine. He needs to win 4 games. And guess what? If he wins 4 games, that's still going to be 1 more than last year.
Yeah.
And then Houston. Houston is a mess.
We don't care.
Houston is irrelevant. Houston is the team of Mr. Irrelevant. You should have to go to Houston if you get Mr. Irrelevant. It should just be automatically Houston's jersey forever.
I agree.
You're Mr. Irrelevant. You're a Texan.
Like Houston, we have a problem that won't be fixed for 5 years. This is what this team is. It's gonna be 5 years.
GM. We all thought it was Bill.
Bill O'Brien,
We all thought it was Bill O'Brien. No, not really. Turns out he was a problem. Turns out their GM is the problem.
And Houston, like, I mean, oh my God. Wait, they picked up David Cawley, didn't they? Yeah, right? Yeah. So they picked up David Cawley, who's, I don't know, 70-some years old. He's a great coach. He's been in the league forever. But, like, so David Cawley's basically a stopgap hire. He's not going to be here very long. 2 years at most. So you're not even getting a young... I don't know if any young coach would want to coach that team, to be honest. But, like, so you get Cawley, and now what? You're basically just giving up. And it's like, wow. Like, this is what... I don't know. It's going to be weird watching Houston, because you're just going to sit there and you'll be like, they're probably only going to win a game. Like, they're going to win a game or two. Like they are. This is the NFL. They're going to win a game or two.
No, they're not.
Shane, do you think they're going to win a game?
Yeah, probably one or two.
I would put money on them not winning a game.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, shoot. I kind of want to bet that. I'm not kidding. I kind of want to bet that. Can we do like $10?
Move to Vegas and start bidding.
Can we do like $10?
You know what's
I'm down to do $10 on that.
You know what is interesting about the AFC South? Of every division in the NFL, they have the least amount of Super Bowl wins.
Says a lot.
You know who has the most?
The West, probably. The NFC West?
The NFC East.
Oh, God, because of the 80s with the Cowboys.
Isn't that funny?
Because of the 80s with the Cowboys.
And the Giants have 3, and Washington has 3.
Right.
And Philly has 1.
Do you want to guess what was who was the quarterback of one of those Washington Super Bowl teams?
On the tip of my tongue.
The guy's not that good.
What? Who was it?
Think of a dinosaur. That might help.
This is a dinosaur?
I might get this wrong. Let me make sure. I can't get this wrong, right? No, it's not him. He used to play for them, though.
Pterodactyl? I don't know.
Wait, I'm trying to figure out if it was him. Oh, no, it was him, wasn't it? It has to be. Okay. No. So, T-Rex, does that help at all? Super Bowl 41, I believe it was.
Not Rex Ryan.
No. Oh, actually, this is not 41. I have to figure out if he did. Rex Grossman. Do you remember Rex Grossman?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if he was that Super Bowl player, though. I might be wrong.
Brennan, did you know that the AFC South has the least amount of Super Bowl wins in NFL history?
Oh, he played in a Super Bowl. He played in a Super Bowl. My bad. Grossman.
Oh.
Surprised me not at all.
You know who has the most?
Who?
Which division? The NFC East.
That's surprising.
It's because of the Cowboys.
Yeah, but anyways.
Let's move on really quick, actually, to some NBA really quick, because I know that we want to
talk about the NBA and the non-NBA.
Wait.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for the standings for the AFC South?
Oh, Jesus.
Not even records, but just
Titans win the division.
standings.
I think Titans win the division because I think if Wentz misses at least 3 games, they're not doing anything. So Titans win the division, Colts second, Jags third, Texans fourth. I think that's probably going to be unanimous unless you want to put the Colts up there.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Brandon, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Colts, Titans, Jags, Houston.
Yeah. Actually, before we do some NBA stuff, do you guys have any games you're looking forward to this? Is it this weekend or? Yeah, it is. Any games you guys are looking forward to for college football? This weekend, next week? I mean, there's a couple on Saturday, but they're actually not too bad. We'll talk about that more next week then.
I mean, tomorrow's might be kind of interesting because it's
Hawaii, UCLA.
I think. Well, no, it's I think it's the first time they're showing. It's the traditional, historical, HBCU colleges.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, for sure.
They're doing a college game day from there.
Oh yeah. So let's quickly talk about the Larry Marketing trade. 4 years, $67 million. Larry Marketing goes to Chicago, or goes to Cleveland. The Cavs move your guy, Brandon, Larry Nance Jr. to the Portland Trailblazers. And
he's my fantasy guy.
Yeah. So the Blazers get Larry Nance, a second-round pick via the Nuggets. In the trade, Portland trades Derek Jones Jr., a lottery-protected 2022 second to Chicago. It's good. This really depends on Kevin Love. Ultimately, it depends on if Kevin Love gets buyed out or not. If he does, then this is going to be a good year for Lowry. If he doesn't, then it seems like it's going to be a weird mess. Shane, how do you want to do the player comparison stuff before we head out? Do you want to
It's easiest for you.
I was thinking that we could could you share your screen? And then we can do it that way.
Sure. Let's see. They're on my phone, but.
But I'm just saying, go on Instagram on your computer, and then share your screen from there.
Right here. I'll airdrop them to my computer.
If not, we could just do it as a separate segment. Yeah. This is one of our favorite segments. So Instagram always has. We usually do this towards the end of the year. Instagram has these player comparison of who's who in the NFL, and we have to guess based on statistics. So this is how we're going to finish up the night. Also, the NFL vibe question on Relevant today was who wins Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2021. Who do you guys think wins Offensive Rookie of the Year? While Shane pulls that up. I'm going to go Trey Lance if he plays all the games.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Justin. I'm going to go with Justin Fields.
Nice.
I think I'm going to go with Justin Fields with Mac Jones being a possible hot button winner. He could be the come out of nowhere and be like, hey, I'm actually really good. Apparently a lot of people think Trevor Lawrence, but my opinion on quarterbacks who come out as out at first winning the Heisman. It's backed up by data, backed up by history.
Wait, so Lawrence won the Heisman, right? He did? Yeah.
He did?
Did
Yeah.
he? What?
Yeah. I'm pretty certain.
I'll look it up just to confirm. But with Lawrence, I just think the hype has died down on him. He's just not really getting a lot of hype.
You know who could win it if he has a really good season? Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, or Najee Harris is another guy that could be in the running as well.
Okay, I'm ready if you guys are.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
He finished second in Heisman voting in
Oh,
2021.
who won?
I don't remember who won last year. I can't believe I don't remember, but either way. Go ahead, Shane.
Let me just share my screen. Oops. Okay. There we go.
Devontae Smith won over him last year.
That's right. Oh, wait. Yeah, let me do this.
If not, we can get off and do it as like a Zoom segment too.
Actually, let's just do this. Okay, you guys see it?
Yeah, I'll pull up the stream.
This is very meta.
It is very please let me know if you guys can see this on
Okay, you see this one here?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Put it towards the middle of the screen a little bit just in case. Cool. Okay, so player one has, I'll read it out for our audio listeners as well on Spotify. So player one, 17,634 pass yards compared to 18,171. Total passing TDs are split by 106 to 107, 40 interceptions to 55, completion percentage 67% to 63.4%, and pass rate of completion 97.3 to 91.5. Who is better?
What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go with player two. I think interceptions are always the caveat in all of this.
You want the guy with more interceptions?
I want the guy with more picks. Yeah, Brandon, what about you?
Okay.
I'm gonna go with number 2.
Yeah, we're both going.
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go with number 2.
Well, that's funny, because this is who they are.
Oh my God! Dak Prescott was the 40 interceptions. Goff was the 55.
You heard it here, folks. Robert and Brandon think that Jared Goff is better than Dak Prescott.
Because it's a fooling game. It's a foolish game.
I'm kidding. I know it.
I mean, I actually kind of think he is, but
What?
I'm just kidding.
All right.
Okay.
Next.
This one's kind of fun.
First 4 seasons in the NFL. Player 1, 3,340 rush yards compared to 4,001. Rushes 43 to 36. Yards per attempt 5.0 to 3.8. 2,824 rush yards compared to 1,896. And receiving TDs 15 to 5. The previous one was receiving yards. Oh my God. I mean, I have to go player 1 here. I don't think it's a question.
Brennan?
I'm gonna go with player 2 because he has more rushing yards.
Okay. Bam.
Oh, wow. First 4 seasons in the NFL. So Alvin Kamara was better in every other category. Is Alvin Kamara a better running back than Marshall Faulk right now?
No.
Historically, I don't think so right now, historically speaking. Wow, that's a good one.
Let's see. Oh, this one's great.
Quarterbacks now. Passing yards, 2,756 to 3,971. Pass
This
TDs,
is the
26.
2020 season.
2020 season. Pass TDs split at 26. Interceptions, player 1 has 9 compared to player 2 has 12. Rush yards for these two quarterbacks, 1,005 and 819. Pass completion rate, 99.3 compared to 94.3. Brandon, you go first. Player 1 or player 2?
Player 2.
I like player 2 as well here.
Well, I know Robert likes both of these guys.
I like Kyler Murray more. I think he's the better player.
Yeah.
I think he's the better player. So, yeah, I like Kyler more. That's a great one.
All right.
Let's do one more.
Yeah, one more for the road.
I got like.
We're gonna
I got like 10 of these.
We're gonna split them into 2 episodes, I think.
This is a good one right here. This is a great one, actually.
So this is QBs as well. So this
Stats.
is career stats. So 63,440 compared to 60,348. Pass TDs 421 compared to 396. All-time interceptions 209 to 201. Percentage 6.9 compared to 64.4. And then pass rate 5.2 compared to 64. Player 1 or player 2?
Player 1.
I'm going to take player 2.
Most people would argue that player 2 is a better player. I disagree. I've always liked player 1 more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interceptions are... I do you remember 2011 Rivers? He had like a really bad interception. I think it was 2011. He had like a really bad interception season. So that's where a lot of the picks come from. But yeah, I mean, Ben... I think both of Famer. I think that whole 04 class, in terms of the primary quarterbacks, should be in the Hall of Fame. Also, props to Phillip Rivers as he wanted to coach at Alabama.
Let me just do one more.
One more.
This one is really funny.
Okay, so career. Okay, so pass yards per game, player 1, 663.1 compared to 270.5. TDs per game, 1.9 to 2 flat. Interception per game, 0.6 to 0.9 per game. So this is interceptions per game. 64% completion compared to 65.3. And then completion rate 7.3 to 96.5. This one is
0.9 interceptions per game.
0.6. Jeez, this is weird. Give me player 1, please. I'm just going with what I'm thinking in my head.
Go with player 2.
Oh, it's a good thing you picked 1, Robert.
Wow, these are 2 of the GOATs.
I mean, that shows just how close they were in terms of...
If you'd picked 2, I would have laughed. Cause
That's unbelievable. And the fact that Brady's still playing, that's going to change those numbers.
Robert, I thought you said Brady was the GOAT.
Yeah. Dude, well, these are 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, so that's so wild.
I do have 5 more of these.
All those are good. Yeah, let's put those for next episode. Let's split it into 2 segments
next week.
All right. Yeah, we'll have some fun with that. Shane, any Newport Beach stories before we hit the road? Any appropriate Newport Beach stories before we hit the road?
Save them from for off the air.
It's funny because
if they aren't it, then it's if they aren't appropriate for air, then no pressure. Like, it's totally fine.
they're not like inappropriate. It's just that it's such a
It doesn't fit.
politically, it's such a strange area.
Okay, then that's totally fine. I thought you had just something
I know.
entertaining. Also, where'd you find that My Trucking Company thing?
In Newport.
In Newport? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a box?
I will say this about it. No, it was a truck.
Oh.
Like a toy truck.
Oh, that's cool.
I will say this about Newport though. There's a lot of money there.
I bet.
I was like, we weren't in town. We were like outside a little bit where it's more affordable.
Yeah.
but we went in and there's like all these houses along the marina, and they like every one of them has yachts, just like right outside, just sitting outside their house, just cause it's like wow, it's crazy, but it's nice, really nice there. I mean, it's like you feel like you're in Disneyland. Like everything's just perfect. Like the bushes are perfectly trimmed, and the plants are just the right green. There's no trash anywhere. Everything's picked up and swept. There's no potholes on any of the roads. It's like, it's so weird, but it gets to a point where you're kind of like, this doesn't feel right.
It feels unnatural. It feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways,
At least you had a good time. That's the important part.
yeah, it was fun.
Just hang out at the beach all day?
I wish. No. And the, crazy drivers down there. I'd never
Really?
seen so many sports cars in a small vicinity like that.
Not fun.
No, it is just funny. It's like everybody is driving a Tesla or a BMW or a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, whatever. And then there's us on our rental Nissan Altima. Like, hey, how's it going?
I like renting cars from like Enterprise and stuff like that. Try something in my mouth.
There's
But
nothing wrong with a Nissan Altima. It's great.
But I'm saying like the cars they have, like a Nissan, a Ford, like those are great.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap it up.
I think so too. So thanks to our partners at Revenant. Great show as always, Shane. Great show as always, Brandon. We will see you all next Friday.